want to share a project I've started called Semantic Actions. I think that it probably will evolve to not just be semantic, but probably something else. But I started prototyping this using Semantic Media Wiki, and I just want to share the idea. And then, if it continues to grow or if someone wants to help evolve it, I'm open to collaboration. The concept is to replicate the issue feature within GitLab and GitHub, but in a wiki. Initially, I thought maybe I should work on an integration between one of those tools, but then I talked about it with some friends and decided to try to build something within the wiki. We have a lot of existing tools like GitLab or GitHub that allow you to track issues about the software as a whole, but I wanted something for within the wiki to track it to all the different topics that are discussed in the wiki. So here's just a high-level overview from the README. Each issue, each action is a wiki page. You use page forms, a very, very simple form to fill out the basic information. You have a title, you have a status, it's either open or closed. You can have a due date, it's not required. You can assign actionees, it's not required. Down at the bottom are the details where you can go into all the nitty gritty. And then there's the labels and related articles. Related article can be any other page in the wiki. And then you can use queries to say, hey, show me all the actions that are related to this article page that I'm on. You can use that in templates or in the generic footer if you use the header footer extension. Labels are meant to be more conceptual, not tied to a page that exists, although you can certainly create a page about it. Labels can be further categorization of actions. They can be milestones. They could be names of different groups within your org. It's kind of open-ended in that purpose so that you can customize this to your use cases. This approach requires some other software. I mentioned Semantic Media Wiki and Page Forms. I use a few other extensions. I'm in the process of making it compatible with Cargo. It's pretty straightforward to install. It has one configuration option. And if you built this, it was under the assumption that each person would have a page about them. So I have a page called the Darren Welsh page, and I can then show the actions assigned to me in that way. But Rich, how some people might want to base that on usernames, like user : not so awesome Steve. And so if you prefer to do this method in your wiki, then you can configure the system to do it that way. This is not a true extension, and they're really just a set of wiki pages that are imported. And depending on which configuration you set, it'll use different pages to achieve that. I should also mention, so besides this action board that I tried to model after GitLab, you also do additional queries for Wikitable or any other kind of output format that you'd like. So let me take you to kind of a live demo. I hope that my internet connection is okay for this. This is a page that we use for our wiki admins to have our weekly admin meeting and to discuss things that we're working on. So we have actions that we track as part of that. And here's an example of action board in use. We have different labels. Some actions we label as priority, some of them at work, some of them are testing on our development server, some of them we need to discuss in the meeting, and some of them require approval from outside group. And then there are other actions that are tagged as related to this meeting, but they don't have any of these labels. So I have this catch-all on the left. You notice that in our generic footer, not only do we have our meeting minutes, we'll have a tab for all, just in case you don't catch it in one of your queries up above. If we were to click one of these actions, you'll see it's just a basic wiki page. I tried to keep styling very light. I wanted to focus on the content and not on much styling and complication. You can see the people that are assigned the labels that we've added and the related article. And then it's just simple form. You can see that there's discussion that goes along with this action. So just use the built-in discussion feature of MediaWiki, and you can see that Rich actually added some comments. So this is an example of across the agency collaboration in a single wiki. Here's another example. This is the page about me. And down below, I've got an action board. These are the actions that I'm tracking personally, and I have different labels applied to them. I've actually got two boards because I'm trying to test Cargo and make sure that I'm implementing it properly and showing the same results. But then I also have standard wiki text or wiki table output queries down below based on different factors of due dates. And I'm showing all this just as an example of how flexible this can be. You can have actions in a central place in the wiki, but then you can filter them and display them in a lot of different ways. So I think that's all I really need to say to introduce this, and I'm happy to answer questions or talk this more later.